Hey everybody. So today I'm going to give you another episode of TR's Corner. And for today I want to tell you about a old neighbor that my family and I used to have that used to live next door to us. Like not right next door, but he was a few houses down. And this is in a house we lived in before this current house I'm filming the video in. My brother and I would always play with like the sprinkler outside, or we'd be playing outside. We had an old swing set, an old sandbox, and all the stuff that a lot of kids in the '90s had to play with outside and things of that nature. But we always had, and my dad actually probably remembers this because he always went over to this guy's house to tell him to quiet down, basically. We always had this really loud neighbor who would always yell the loudest yell you could ever imagine whenever his computer was not working. And neighbors of ours and ourselves and almost everybody in the neighborhood knew about this basically because this guy just could not keep to himself whenever his computer was not working, whenever he ran into internet troubles and things of that nature. So yeah, there was a couple times where my dad would always go over and like, hey, quiet down. There's kids. Try not to use so much profanity around this neighborhood and things like that. And so the guy's like, well, my computer's not working, and if this stupid computer was working, I wouldn't be doing all this, and all that kind of stuff. And so my dad, since he's pretty good with computers, and he was really good at computers even back then, since computers were still pretty new for that time. He helped the guy out, but he still ran into troubles, and it just this is something that was always happening with this guy. He always ran into computer troubles. He was always doing something that agitated the computer or something because he was always having computer problems. And yeah, I can honestly say to this day that most of the profanity that I probably knew as a kid probably came from that guy, since that was probably the earliest time in my life where I heard such language. And yeah, I remember always being in the backyard. I would always hear this really loud yell coming from the distance. Turned out to be that guy with the computer problems. And it was funny because another reason why I brought this story too is like even like 1 or 2 years ago, my mom and I ran into this guy at a grocery store who used to live next to us, and the story got brought up again of this loud neighbor that everybody had because everybody had problems with this guy. Everybody always went over to his house, specifically parents with kids, and always telling him to quiet down because he was always so loud and obnoxious. He always had computer problems. This happened at least once every 2 days at a minimum with this guy. At least once every 2 days, he always had computer problems, and he was always yelling, and it was just yeah, it's like it was almost like yesterday. I always remember hearing this guy yelling, and it's just like, dude, okay, we get it. Your computer doesn't work. We understand you're frustrated, but seriously, some of this stuff you gotta keep to yourself and keep under control and stop hitting things whenever things are not working for you because it's clearly just disrupting the neighborhood. It's disturbing the peace, and clearly this guy just didn't care. So, but he was an older guy though. He probably just didn't care. Near the end of the line, just blew everybody off. So that's today's story. That's a little bit shorter than normal. I apologize for that, but I just wanted to give you this story of this annoying neighbor we used to have, and thankfully, our neighbors that we have now are not like this. So thank God for all that. So I will see you guys here for future TR's Corner episodes and for future videos.